So if you think that your content is too light and you're figuring out how to give it a little bit more substance, trying to provide a little bit more value for your audience, then this is the video for you. So here's the question I'm going to answer today is I'm feeling like my content is light. How do I add a little more substance? And the reason I started with a question is that's my very first tip for you. So, really, truly, honestly and tactically, and exactly what I'm doing right now, this is how you add more substance. If you're feeling like your content is light, you actually ask your customers, what questions can I answer for you? It is going to be so simple that you're like, that's it? Yeah, that's it. I started this video with telling you exactly the question that I was going to answer for you. Where did that question come from? It came from people like you. It came from the members of our community, a brand builders group. It came from our audience. It came from asking Chat GPT. It came from just asking, like, what do people want to know answers to? Like, what are people asking out there when it comes to my message and what I talk about, and the category that I'm in, which is personal branding? What do people want to know? What are they struggling with? What are they asking? What are they thinking? What are they Googling? Right? And you can just ask your customers that too. But it's as simple as that: is start all of your content by answering one question. Content typically is light when you're trying to cover broad topics. And it's like there's just if everything is surface level, it's hard to have a deep takeaway. But when you bring it in and you make it super niche, i.e., one question, it allows you to go deeper, which allows you in return to have more of those emotional connections with your audience because you're not covering a lot of things on the surface, but you're able to go deep in a conversation, deep in a topic. And quite honestly, you get to the heart of things by focusing it on one question, not a topic, but a question. You see, if my topic was today is how do you create relevant content? Well, then it's like, and here's the 3 bullet points by going, now I'm just going to rephrase that in the form of a question, of making it very clear. Here's your question. Here's the answer versus here's a high level topic and here's some bullet points. I'm not saying don't do that. There's plenty of content that's applicable for. But if you're talking about how do you create more substance in it, then you pick a question and you answer that in the most deep and helpful, meaningful way as possible for your unique audience. Now, and that's the key point to this is you don't just answer random questions. No, you answer questions that your audience wants to know the answers to. You should know those, right? So if you've ever gone through the important work of figuring out who is your ideal avatar, right? Your ideal customer, your, target audience, whatever you want to call it. There's lots of different things, or variations of calling it that. But for us, it's what we call your ideal avatar. You should be asking yourself, like, what questions do they need the answers to? And if you just give yourself 30 minutes, time yourself, and this is your this is your homework, this is your takeaway from this particular episode. You need to sit down in 30 minutes and write down as many questions as possible that will help your ideal avatar. And you should know that because you should know who that person is. And most often, it's who you used to be. Like one of the most infamous quotes from Brand Builders Group, actually by my awesome partner in crime, Rory Vaden, my husband. He says that you are always most well positioned to serve the person that you once were. So you know this person. It was likely you a year ago or 5 or 10 years ago, or it's someone that you know intimately because you have done the work of figuring out what are the hopes and dreams of my avatar? What are their challenges? What setbacks have they experienced? What keeps them up at night? What do they fear? What questions do they have? Where do they live? Where do they think? Where do they spend time? What are they planning? What do they need help with? What's holding them back? Like those are all great psychographic questions to be asking yourself to really hone in the profile of who is this person that you are trying to create content for. You see, if your content is light, you're probably covering the surface or you're trying to reach too many people. And our recommendation, specifically mine here, is to no, you answer one question for one person. That's what you do. You go, here's the one question that I'm going to answer for the one person, and that's my avatar. So when I create my content like this, it's like first I do it in question form, right? Which is my content is feeling light. How do I add more substance? And then I think about my avatar, which is you, who's listening to this, who's reading this. And I go, what is it that you really need to hear? And it's not tips and tricks on how to get more views. It's like, no, it's how do you get in touch with your avatar? How do you get in touch with yourself? How do you tap into that message that you are uniquely called to serve? And how do you bring it out? Right? How do you bring it to the surface in a way that will connect with your audience and help them, right? Help them move forward, help them make progress, and doing it in an easy way. So my easy way for you today, my avatar, is to do all of your content in question form. So 30 minutes on the clock, write as many questions as possible that your avatar has, that you have the answer to. And as you start creating your next piece of content, I want you to think about who is this for? And then ask yourself the question, hit record, go. That's what you do. That's how you create more substance if your content's feeling a little light.